Hi, you asked about how I made the Enfields. Yes, it is my livelihood. Yes, I don't normally tell people, but what the hell? The last person I told immediately started putting his kits on the internet to rival mine, but luckily he wasn't that great a craftsman, so I lucked out there. Now, the first Enfield I did was using one of these stocks. This is from a company in England called Shoot and Scoop, which is a props company, and they make these rough stocks. Now they're made of a hardwood, but it's very light. It's not very good quality. It's quite soft. I don't like it. And he uses a mirroring machine. It follows a blank and it carves the second one almost the same. And what I've done in the past is I've bought his stocks from other people who have never finished their kits, and I've had to adapt them. So I've had to put in a load of filleting wood, and I've had to move, because I mainly use SSG 24s as the internals, because they are a very good quality, and I really like the build quality from Norwich's SSG 24. I don't like the VSR. I find that they're quite weak and they don't lend themselves to kits very well because of the inherent weakness in their design. So this is his ones. I'm using a paint finish to replace where it's metal. But the ones I'm making now is I'm using a Sapia hardwood. I don't use pine because it's twists and it's knotty and it's horrible. I use only hardwood. I'm seasoning this piece. This has been seasoned for about 4 months. So as you can see, you can carve out the whole thing. This is one that I made out of walnut. This is a G98 World War I German gun. So this one I just took loads of pictures off the internet, worked out the dimensions just by comparing pictures and measuring on screen. And then this is a kit that would fit the SSG, and obviously there's loads of other spare parts that go with it. So that one was just made out of walnut. I didn't make it up as I went along, but I didn't have any other dimensions apart from ones I could get from videos and stills on the internet, and just after a couple of weeks of measuring and stuff, you can get a good idea of what shape it's meant to be. The current ones I'm making, you can buy original unused rear stocks from Enfields. This is an original walnut rear stock. You can't use, I can't find a way of using the real ones because this section here would bolt onto a metal section on the actual breech. It's inherently going to be weak because where it would fit on is exactly the hole where you have all the trigger mechanisms, so there's nothing to really clamp onto, and you'd only have two very thin bits here, and I feel that this would just break. So I tend to make mine, instead of the two separate parts like this one, I make them as a whole one. But I buy one of these so I can get the exact shape that I want. You also then have to go around the world via the internet and buy all the parts. You can buy rubber dummy magazines which you can cut and you can mount onto, that would have to be cut down, mount onto actually the gun. But you can buy the original top pieces. These are unused real stocks, and now you've got the exact dimensions, the width, the length that you want. So you're building up a gun from the bits that you can actually find. And then the other bits that you would buy is you'd buy the original bands. This is the lower metal plate. This is an SMLE, but if it was a Mark IV Enfield, this would go on about here. So using the metal brackets, the rear front sights and stuff, these are what give you the dimensions. I mean, for instance, this front bracket here, it might have cost me £30–40 to buy it, but you've now got the exact oval, the shape that you want. So it takes a lot of the guesswork out of when you're carving and you need to make this bit here. You've now got something to exactly work out the dimensions. And once you've worked out where all these bits are going to go in relation to each other by looking at the internet and taking measurements and taking drawings, you can then join the dots and you can work out where it goes. I mean, on all rifles you will find that this top plane here, and even down to a modern rifle stock. Well, here's for instance, here's one of my Car 98. This is an original World War II stock. This top plane here is always dead flat, and it's always halfway up the barrel and the center line. So the path of the bullet would go exactly along the line that this top face is on. So your barrel is going to stick up half above and go half below. Everything is going to be taken off this top line here. So that there is going to give you your main dimension for working out how to build it. So that's the way you would do it. You get as many original bits of wood that you can get hold of. These are relatively cheap. I mean, you can buy this for about £30. You can buy these again for about £30. So once you've got all the bits of wood, all the fixings that you've got, most of the measurements are worked out for you, and you've just got to work out the distance apart that all these bits go, and that can be done by just measuring online pictures and working it out. Once you've got a known measurement, for instance, if you know what the height is there, you can use that to apply it to pictures to work out that the distance, for instance, between where that joins on and the front band might be 5 of these. So you measure that, work out 5 of them, and then you work out where your front band's going to go. I haven't got any drawings, I haven't got any measurements. I do each one because I never know what I'm going to be making next. And every one I make, I like to improve. The difficult bits is obviously getting your airsoft internals to match up the best you can. You'll find that the actual bolt arms on real steel guns can be back here or sticking out sideways, so that's not something you can't change unless you start welding on bits and stuff, which is inherently going to weaken it and not, I don't think, going to stand up to day-to-day skirmishing. I like to leave this bit as it is. So for instance, on this G98, the original bolt arm stuck out sideways and went straight up. For that one, I did actually go to town because I particularly like World War I stuff, and I made myself a bolt out of a lump of steel. I mean, as you can see, it's a little bit, you know, arts and craft, handmade look, because I did actually carve this one out of a lump of steel because I just wanted that iconic bolt that sticks out the side. But you are going to have to make compromises to marry the modern with the old, but my advice is leave the modern alone. It works. You can get spares, you can get upgrades. All you need is this bit, the hop unit and the front barrel. Then everything else you can fashion around it. And the way I do it is I like to use as many original bits as I can possibly get, because then you feel that you've actually got a real bit of history in your hands, even though some of it is modern. Thank you. Hope this helps.